podcast today. So good to see all of you. This is one of the most, I think, important parts of doing business. I was actually doing part of my monthly eval. It was actually my weekly eval. You know how we discussed doing Monday hour one and Friday hour done. And I was feeling a little blue this weekend. I was like, oh, it's like I don't know like what I've really accomplished. It's like it just kind of felt like a meh kind of day. And when I was doing it, I just felt like I was like, "Oh, yeah, I did this. Oh, yeah." And I hired 2 new coaches, and I also was able to, like, do some networking, and I was able to and it just, like, reflecting makes you feel like you can actually see progress instead of it just kind of feeling like, "Oh my god, nothing is working." It's just such a beautiful opportunity for you to get perspective on your business. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So we're first going to talk about the why. Why is it important for us to evaluate and improve every single month? And then again, we're going to touch back to weekly evaluations, something that I've done to help keep track of things that might be helpful for you guys too. And just a little shift for that. It's the same thing, but just something that I've noticed has been a difference in mine. And I wanted to add it for you as well. And then monthly evaluation, seeing the whole month, and then monthly checklist. And it's important to do those in order because when you're going through the things that are upcoming, it's important to be like on a stance, just like we set goals from a place of abundance and like security. It's also really fun to go through your monthly checklist when things are feeling really secure and stable. So again, I like this quote because I think we can judge ourselves so harshly at where we're at every single level. So the natural response to evaluation is to feel judged. And our brains hate to be judged. We do not want to be judged. And if we can come from things from like a different perspective where we can see that like we not a different, again, I don't love the word mature, but like to a place where we can see like, okay, this is just where we are right now. We can respond to it in gratitude instead of and like actually start loving feedback. And that's my goal this year is to like really like take feedback and roll with it. I got some feedback. Actually, I got coached for the first time ever in 3 rounds of the mastermind by Stacy last week. And she was like, "You were sick. You should have pushed your launch back." And I was like, didn't even think that was a possibility. I was like, "Oh, well, that is great feedback." And we can it took me a second where I was like, maybe I did it wrong. And like my brain just like freaked out. And then I was like, no, this is exactly the way it was supposed to go. And now I can learn and show other people that when you're not at like a very large scale, like you can change the pace of your launches and you can launch at different times. And so I wanted to give that as an example for you guys of how I'm trying to go from feedback and show you guys to do that as well. Um, the other thing that I was thinking about is like all of us, our brains are designed to compare. And we can get into compare and despair very easily, either comparing ourselves to our past self, comparing ourselves to other people, comparing ourselves. It's just like what our brains do because our primitive brains want to find placement and it likes to compare because then we're judging if we're like any problems that need to be taken care of. And instead of our brains being problem focused and comparison focused, my goal is for you guys to see a different level where we're using, instead of comparing, we're using it to see possibilities, but also staying in our lane. And I got also some more coaching last night from a friend, Charlotte Smith, and she was like, you need to put blinders on. She was like, you are in your business. No one else's business matter. Focus on your people. Don't focus on your goal for the year. Don't focus on anything else but this launch. And I was like, that is some really good feedback. So in the spirit of that, like, know that I've been in a compare and despair trap. It happens like all the time. And so instead of using what an analogy that I thought of the other day was that like I like to think about our businesses. And if this lands, great. If not, that's okay too. But I was thinking about it like we're all like national parks. And I was thinking like I love Glacier and I love Yosemite and I love to like be out and like I don't love hiking and things like that, but I think it's really cool to experience. And this was just the analogy I thought of. So I was like, I am Glacier and my friends' businesses are like Yosemite. And my friends, it's like there are a bunch of other businesses that are they're just different national parks. They have different views. They're going to attract different people for different reasons. And so it's like, if we think, I don't know why we have the natural resources that each of us have. I don't know why we have experienced the things that we have for different amounts of time. But if you can think about it, like, we're all beautiful in our own right, and to stay focused on our park versus trying to be like, I don't want to be Glacier trying to be Yosemite. It's two very different parks. Last little analogy, because I know comparison can happen to all of us, is that, like, I was also thinking about us, again, not a huge hiker, but I did run a marathon like way back in the day. And it's like, when I was doing the marathon, it would be whatever I would run and it would feel horrible. It was when I was trying to track every mile. And I was like, okay, oh my gosh, like, it's like, when am I going to get to mile 5? When am I going to get to mile 9? When am I going to get to mile, when I was at like 24, I literally physically thought I was going to die. I was like, when is this going to be over? And when I was able to take a step back and just enjoy each mile for what it was, knowing that it was different views, different scenery, thinking about like a hike, like at the beginning of the hike in mile marker 1, if you can think about the mile marker as the amount of income and the amount of clients you worked with, it's like, we can, like, mile 1 is like awesome. There's usually a creek and like a cute little bridge and like a little path, and it's like always so beautiful. And then mile 5 might have like a little scenic overlook. And it's like, okay, maybe we got some bouldering, maybe it's like different like challenges at each level. But if we can just appreciate each mile of where we're at instead of thinking about the next mile, it makes us enjoy the journey instead of just focusing on the future. We get bringing back to the comparison. Okay, good. Thanks, Carrie. I'm so glad that like resonates. This is either gonna land or it is not gonna land at all. So I was like, I'm glad it landed. So within our evaluations, when we are going, where is my mouse? It's fine. Who needs a mouse anyways? I can't, there's like the big chat box is like in the middle of my screen. But for our weekly evals, there's the mouse. Thank you. With week 11, when we did our monthly evaluation, something I've realized is that like my energy levels also play into my, again, like I showed you guys when we did the weekly evals, that like my like, I realized that like it didn't really matter about like the offers made in posts. It wasn't really about that. It was because I wasn't seeing a correlation from the offers to the results of money and clients. And so what I was thinking about, it's like, this is like the energy that I feel is like my thoughts and my feelings. So if you think about this, like the model, it's like your energy is a mix of thoughts and feelings. I like to think about your thoughts are your energy and your feelings are the vibration that you're giving out to people, like if you physically experience it. And then networking, outreach, and offers are like the action line. And this could land with you, it doesn't have to. And then these are the R line. These are like the results that happen because of it. And I realized that like I have not been tracking my energy. Like, and I know that when I'm in like right now, I feel like I'm in like a very like, for again, for lack of better terms, even though we're numbering on a scale of 1 to 10, it's just for you to see that like, oh, when I'm feeling on it, like right now, I feel like great. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I have a feeling more of this is going to come in. And so I'm starting to track that as well. And I think I added that you guys, I would love for you guys to have some folders, but I started tracking my energy and reflecting back on the year. And I was like, oh, I spent the entire month of February at a 2. Again, like we talked about the 50-50, like life is going to happen. You're going to get sick. There's going to be things that are going to go on. And it's okay for your business to be at a 2. It's safe for your business to be at a 2, but it's also intriguing for the high to low value cycles to think about how we can try and shift that energy, especially if we feel like we're in a cycle for quite some time. So that is key. And then the other thing I wanted to add, again, focus on the good and don't let the great be the enemy of the good, is like so important. Like your businesses are all incredible and we just need to like love them exactly where they are, and then they'll grow faster and exactly the way they're supposed to in the business they're supposed to be. The other thing is I showed you guys the weekly eval and I have it in a separate folder because I like to track it year by year. So like these are sad. I didn't know how to track it in 2020. I got a little bit better in 2021 towards the end of the year is when I finally figured it out. Then I did it for all of 2022, and now I'm doing it for all of 2023. So I like to have it in a separate document. However, something I realized you could do is you can go like this and click copy to, and then a new spreadsheet or an existing spreadsheet. And last week we talked about all the projections and all these jazzy little spreadsheets for here. And you can actually add your weekly evaluation to that spreadsheet. So if you do copy to existing spreadsheet, you can do, and mine just is called projections 2022, 2023. And if you click insert, it'll open the spreadsheet, and all the way at the end, it'll be over here. So you could keep all of your numbers together if you want for your income, or you could keep it separate. Totally up to you. That was just like something I wanted to add. I started doing that with some of my one-on-one clients because we're starting to track it every week, and just like we track with your forms. And so I wanted to offer that to you guys. But, and I should have done this one first. So we want to do the evaluation before we do the checklist. So we want to check out 5 wins, of course, what worked, what didn't work, and what can we do differently. And the way that I did this is I took the 6 pillars of my business and I made it, this is something that I did, and I was trying to think about like in each of these categories for managing what's working, what can be improved, what can we do differently, and then what would it take? I think a lot of us know what we don't want, but I think we need to spend a lot more time envisioning what we do want. So what would it look like for you to be a 10 for this month? And since this is like kind of technically the first full week of March, we're going to do this for the month of February. And I use Talk to Type, and I just like allow myself to go through it. And we're going to do this together in like 10-ish minutes. And you're just going to think about each of these categories, what worked, what could be improved, what can we do differently, and what would make it a 10. So like for me, I'm like, oh, managing, it's like thinking about, for me, that's where I focus a little bit on mindset as well, and thinking about like my energy and things like that. And I'm like, what's working is getting coached every day. What could be improved is making sure that I have someone like literally in my brain every single day. What can I do differently? Hire 2 coaches. So I hired Renee for this launch, and I hired Jackie for the next 6 months to help me like within that. And then I was like, okay, when you think about what it would look like to be a 10, this is kind of where we go into like that long-term plan thing. And that's where you talk in the third person. And you're like, Megs is amazing at managing her mind. She's amazing at managing her money. She makes sure that she goes through and learns everything that Jackie has to give her, and also helps to control her, learns how to manage her emotions even better with Renee. She takes all those techniques and she's able to teach it to her clients. And she is just a living, breathing embodiment of what is possible to feel peaceful during a launch. And so like that's what I would say for managing. And I just go through each of these categories. And this takes me like 7 to 10 minutes. Like it's just a fast, like one thing for each of the categories, just like boom, 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 boom. And just reflecting, it does not need to take long. But what I do is I'll put like 3 March, and then you copy and paste it. And I'll show you what that looks like for me. I have it in a folder called business coaching, and oh, March thought downloads. Clearly I was getting into it. I'm very proud of myself because I've actually done all of my thought work every day for the month of March at least. So little wins. But what I do is I go into the business, and I actually have business coaching is a separate file. And then I have monthly evaluation is a separate folder. And then I have 1, 2, 3. And this is the blank one. And then I make a copy of that every month, name it for February. So I'm going to do this with you guys as we go through, because I think it's just so important. And I usually keep it for the first Friday of the month, and I didn't get a chance to. So I was like, perfect timing. I'll do it with you guys. The next thing is you are going to get a monthly checklist. On the right, do not look at that yet. I tried to figure out a way to like, I used to be able to in like, what's it called? Not Google Slides, the OG PowerPoint. I used to know how to like make it like show up like in a jazzy way. And I don't know how to do that with slides. So you're just gonna have to see all this. I was like, that worked for what I was teaching, and I don't know how to do it just yet. But this is the monthly spreadsheet or the monthly checklist that I have for you guys. So here is your monthly checklist. This is all the things that I've taught you so far. It's just to go through and update projections, which we did last week, update your annual plan, which we talked about. I think it was actually week 13. And then monthly eval, weekly evaluation, and update the marketing calendar. So these are the 4 things that I was thinking I taught you guys that you could do for your monthly checklist. But remember, you are customizing this for your own business. So think about what kind of things do you need to do every month to keep your business on track. And usually that first Friday, I don't allow any consults. I set aside the whole time and I just go through this. And it's usually like, for me to do this, it would take a little bit less time. Where my business is at now is I just keep everything that I'm like, oh man, I need to do this every month. I add here. So I'm like the client payment protocol, QuickBooks, that's a separate classwork. So like I've got QuickBooks is in the bonuses. Yeah, the QuickBooks tutorial. If you choose to do QuickBooks, I do. So I make sure that like I go to QuickBooks. I also within the client information, anyone who's finishing me within the last month, I send them the resigning message. I go through expenses, monthly eval. I delete all my Zoom calls because they take a lot of storage. I update my annual plan, monthly hour 1, change payroll and ADP, which is something that you guys don't need to worry about until you're over 40K. Update marketing calendar, sign up for Women's Social Club events, which is a networking group, sign up for self-coaching scholars coaching, and sign up for 200K coaching. So I do that every week, every month, not every week, definitely not every week. But mine is a lot longer because I've added more protocols every single month. So yours is not going to be this long right now. You can just either use what I've given you within the classroom and think about, okay, like here it's in week 15. And you can just think about, okay, what are the things I need to do every month? What could I add to that checklist? And it's week 16 right here. So that's where you're going to have all the editable monthly checklist, monthly eval, and slideshow. And then that is it. I hope this is helpful. We're going to do, and you guys have already done weekly evaluations. So we're going to do the monthly eval. And then if you want to, you can get into the monthly checklist if you want. These are just things I would totally forget. Like, if I didn't have that weekly or the monthly checklist, there's no way I would remember how to do there's no way that I would remember how to do QuickBooks if I didn't have that whole protocol. It would be crazy. So definitely refer that back to it as you need. We're going to do the monthly eval checklist. If you want to edit your monthly checklist and customize it, feel free to, and include that in there. Submit your weekly form, and then we're going to get into coaching. But I also wanted to put it out there. Amber, thank you so much for doing a testimonial. I'm so appreciative of you. If anyone else would feel so inclined to do a testimonial for the group, since it is launching right now, it would mean the world to me if you guys had a chance to like just take like literally like, it doesn't even have to be a full minute. It could be like 30 seconds just to say like, hey, this is like what I learned, what I'm thinking about it. Like if you'd recommend it, hopefully to other people, I hope so. And that would be awesome. Other than that, are there any questions? Not, feel free to post them in the chat. I will be checking the chat. I'm going to move this over to another screen. So I'm going to start sharing my screen for my other computer. Hopefully this will work. I'm like learning how to do this. Technical difficulties. And if you guys have any questions, post it in the chat. And if not, Let's just take 26 minutes to get this done, and then we'll do some live coaching starting at 11. The other thing I wanted to mention is that for our next couple calls, we are going to do I would love for us to do what's it called? I would love to us to have some brainstorming sessions. So we're gonna have like the first half for you guys to just bring like anything that you've got in your business, be like, hey, I need to meet more people. Who has ideas for me to meet more people? And then we're just gonna like mastermind it, and I'm gonna allow you guys to share ideas. And that's gonna be the format of the next mastermind as well. But it's gonna be like, okay, like I need someone for graphics, I need someone for like anything that you need. We're going to spend time doing that for the first half of the call, and then the second half is going to be for coaching. So that is it. Hopefully you guys can see the application and coaching screen. Can you see that blue one? Not my screen. Okay, great. And I will see you guys. Feel free to keep your audio on and video on, off, on, whatever you're feeling, and I will see you in just a minute. Oh, where did my chat box go? I saw a chat. Oh, okay, that's totally fine. Also, Dorit, message me if you need any if you are still considering doing breath work. Like I think it'd be awesome. But like, yeah, let me know. But if you're working during the week, then we also want to make sure we respect your time. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my camera. Let's do it, people.
Let me be your eye. Let me roam your body. Don't have to turn. I feel myself. So love. I can get down, I can get lonely every time I think about the highs. Yeah, mess me around, and now you keep calling, wondering if you can make it right. I told you it's the end for you and I swear this time we're through, but it's a lie when you call my name. Yeah, ooh, that sounds so right, so right, so right. Deep down, wishing you were mine. Deep down, miss you all the time. Dream about what we could have been if we tried to, but deep down, wishing you were mine. Oh, mine. You got me so deep down. I wanna go deep down. You got me so, yeah, deep down. You got me so deep down. I wanna go deep down. You got me so, yeah. Yeah, need to be strong. As soon as I see you, you can turn my tables back around. So easy, you got the control. Sharing your speakers gets me kinda crazy, kinda foolish, foolish. I know that it's the end for you and I swear this time we're through, but it's a lie when you call my name. Yeah, ooh, that sounds so right, so right, so right. Deep down, wishing you were mine. Deep down, miss you all the time. Dream about what we could have been if we tried to, but deep down, wishing you were mine, were mine. Dream about what we could have been if we tried to, 'cause deep down,
10-ish minutes left.
you got me so deep down, wishing you were mine. Deep down, miss you all the time. Dream about what we could have been if we tried to, but deep down, wishing you were mine, were mine. You got me so deep. I Should've known it, should've seen it. You were screaming all this time. I was alone, a rolling stone. I couldn't see you in the light. You were hiding, I was blinded like the lightning in the sky. And I have been waiting all this time. Hey, 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 who do you love? Come on and tell me, who do you love? And if you're asking who make it up, who do I love? It's you. Who do you love? Who's got you dreaming when you wake up? And after all is said and done, who's the one? Who do I love? It's you, it's you, it's
Five-ish minutes left. Get as far as you can.
you just in time. Had some fun out on the run, but baby, you don't want to finish line. What feeling, what a reason to believe it being alive. I've been waiting all this time. Hey, 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 who do you love? Come on and tell me, who do you love? And if you're asking who make it up, who do I love? It's you. Who do you love? Who's got you dreaming when you wake up? And after all is said and done, who's the one? Who do I love? It's you, it's you, it's Who's got you dreaming when you wake up? And after all is said and done, who's the one? Who do I love? It's you, it's you, it's you. One is you make me happy, two is you set me free from all the things that held me back from just being me. Thank you for all the sweetness. Now I can finally breathe. Now I can finally breathe. But baby, don't you see? I still get frustrated thinking like when you keep on doing things I don't like. And I hate your friends, and I hate your moves, and I still love you. I got 21 reasons why I do. I got 21 reasons why I do.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom. If anyone needs anything, put it in the chat, and I'll see you in a second.
When you keep on doing things I don't like, and I hate your friends, and I hate your moves,
1 minute left. Hello. Oh. Hey, hey. I just love it. The song is just like, I don't know, it just feels so fun and like happy. Was the last call in February? Or was it the first call in? Yes. I'm gonna say March Madness. Fun fact, the first group I ever did was 2 years ago, almost the day, and I called it March Mindset Madness. So that was a fun time. It was like a little mini offer. Learned so much since then about like, wow, doing mini offers might not make the most money overall, but still very fun. Learned how to do a lot of things and moving on forward. So that's why I named it March Mindset Madness. Who wants to get in on the mindset today? Demetria, do you want to get in on this? I know that like you mentioned you have to leave early.
Working with 3 screens, two mouses and or mice, I don't know, and then moving things around. We can do that. Let me set this to
Also, I realized I made a pretty egregious error, just real quick, with the receivables expected. I don't know if this is the case for y'all, but it went January, March, April, June. Totally skipped the month of May. So if that's the case for y'all's spreadsheets, A, apologies. That was not my intent. And B, I will fix it. But so you said that like you would be down to coach or you're feeling like okay.
I'll coach. I mean, I can always use coaching, right? Always. Okay, so I feel good about things. So I will tell you that I have been, like my plan is to retire June 1. And I had been having a lot of thoughts, like contingency plans running through my head and what ifs, and thoughts like, well, I could probably always reapply at Texas Mutual, or I could go somewhere else, like thoughts like that. And one day, I don't know where it came from, but I'm like, why are you planning for the worst? I'm like, why not have thoughts about succeeding and how it's all going to go right, and instead of having contingency plans. So I've been working on that, like working on those thoughts and having those thoughts, and I feel really, really good about that. And I made a decision to sell my planner that I've created. Hold on. This is a little mock-up that I'm living in right now. So what I've done before is I was going to give it to clients. So I decided, I'm like, why can't I sell it to people who want to just buy the planner and then give it to clients for free? So my original, the one that I had printed to see the quality and all that stuff, comes today. So I'm going to try and review that and get it ready. Probably it'll be mid-April, because March is rodeo stuff and that's kind of all going on. So it'll probably be mid-April before it's really ready to go. But I'm feeling really good about things. And I don't know if I talked to you when we talked, like the list of questions, and this was before I came up with the why not think about succeeding, but I had this list of questions that were coming up, and I'm like, okay, you need to answer all those questions. So I'm kind of working through the answering those questions.
And answering the questions, can you remind me of what questions were phrased?
Well, they were like, hold on, I'm trying to make sure I don't.
Unmute for the other screen.
So, hold on, let me find them.
Were they
They
ones
were,
that,
go ahead.
were they ones I gave you?
No, they were just the questions that were coming up in my brain, like
Yes.
the mind drama, like
I
why
love
would I quit a six-figure job? How much I need to earn to live on each month? Like finite, how much do I need to? So I have a good idea because I do budget, but I'm like, okay, like get it down to the penny. Um, uh, how much is insurance? Things like that. Like all the questions that are swirling in my head, like find out all the answers, do all the research,
Yeah.
and have those. So there's not that I'm not indulging in confusion on those pieces.
And I absolutely love this because I think that like that's the thing. It's like anytime there's a question, one of my clients, she actually, I love this. She was like, I was having thoughts about my ex, and so I scheduled a therapy appointment. So she's like, I literally scheduled time to worry about it later. And so literally for you, I want you to schedule, it's like, okay, this is gonna be and strategizing time where I'm going to go through this. Other than that, I'm not going to allow my brain to go there. And I'm just going to like redirect and be like, thank you. That's another great question. I'm listing it. I hear you. We're moving forward in another aspect right now. And it sounds like I want to know, like, when you're having thoughts about like succeeding and making it go right. Yes, I love this. I want to know what you are, and we're gonna like model it kind of like a different way. Like, so retiring June 1, like how many clients would you like to have by that time? Where are you picturing?
So 10 clients by June 1.
Love it.
And I wrote on my, when I had that thought, like, why am I thinking about the worst? I went and wrote on my bathroom mirror, like June 1, and I had clients 1 through 10 to like fill them in.
I
Because you're always in there, or I'm not always in there, but in there a lot, right? So I'm like, it's top of mind.
yes, I love that. Okay, so what are like the like empowering thoughts that you're having about that? Like what are the thoughts you're using as your fuel, as the energy to move you towards that goal?
Um, I'm gonna do everything that I need to do to succeed.
I love it. Breathing, fine. And like a thought that I've been having recently is like life doesn't work, I make it work. It's like the business doesn't work, I'm gonna make it work. So it's like I'm gonna make this happen. Like I'm
Right.
Tamisha motherfucking McVeya, and I'm gonna do this. It's happening, you know?
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, that was the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm spending all that energy on what if scenarios and plans. I'm like, spend all that energy on
Something
what
else.
needs to happen to make it work.
And
So
that so good.
we um we had our meeting, and I have not done those things yet. Like,
It's okay.
I love March and I love everything that goes on, and it's so crazy. And I'm like, just enjoy rodeo. I'm like, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, enjoy rodeo, but I'm getting some things done. I'm also taking off some days from work so I can A, rest because it's really crazy, and B, like get some work done. So I'm not gonna totally abandon my business during March, but as I go and forward and set up my business, it will be so I can have March very low touch and a lot of time off in the future. So like just do that now. So,
And I love that. And it's like if we want to plan for the future of our business to be like a lot of rest or things like that, it's like we need to do that now. And so it's like getting into that place of like truly enjoying it, being present. I have a feeling, I'm wondering if you might just randomly sign someone from the rodeo and like they're going to just be like, It's like, what if just doing what you love is going to be enough, more than enough, to bring in these
Right.
people?
Well, here's the thing. Ran into a lady that I hadn't seen probably since last radio, and she's like, I listen to your podcast and I follow along. So I'm like, okay. I had no idea. Like, I had no idea. So
Right.
yeah.
People
So
that,
that was exciting. So it could totally happen. I'm printing some more business cards because I'm getting low and I want to change the podcast because it's two-sided. So I'm printing some more business cards to have with me.
code,
Um,
fun fact, QR codes are like the best, because then
yes.
you always change your link tree and then like have new everything every time. So I love that.
Yeah, I have QR codes too.
People.
So yes.
So
So
now from this place of joy, like knowing it's happening, not I could happen, like I'm gonna make it happen. What um what is your plan to bring these lovely humans to your wonderful business?
do as much networking as possible. Do the workshops that we talked about on our call,
Huh?
get those out there, start promoting those, do webinars. Um, I want to do some more guest spots on podcasts. I did one.
Okay.
So I'm like, why not go, even if I have one, why not go do the guest spot on theirs? And what I did with this one that I was on a couple of weeks ago, I asked her if I could put it on mine too. So it's the episode that ran today, and it was something that I didn't have to do, right?
Yes.
I just uploaded it with a little intro. So do that. I don't know why I made it hard, but I did. The content planning calendar that you gave us, I made it really, really hard. And so I was talking to the girls one weekend. They're like, just put some stuff in there. Like, you can worry about the warm, hot, cold, like later on, or cold, warm, hot. They're like, just put some stuff in there. So I have a content calendar, and I immediately felt like this. Just
Yeah.
having it, just seeing it, just yeah, because I was making that hard. So
Nice.
that's easy now. So I
And,
just feel like um yeah, like I'm making it happen instead of making it hard.
and what you're gonna do is you're going to make it succeed.
Yes.
And it'll never be in the way you think it will be. Always we make plans and then the universe is like, ha, you thought that's how it was going to go down. And
Right.
so being open to like all the things. I was gonna offer that to everybody. I was talking in Christina's one-on-one about doing collaborations. And I was thinking about, that's why we have the skill of presenting. If you want to do presentations for other organizations, you've already had experience with like 3 different groups, right? And then having those spots on the podcast, you're getting an audience with already warm people who know, like, and trust someone else. They'll trust anyone they endorse. And so it's like, if you are getting endorsed in on these other podcasts, like, why not? Like, let's go and let's try to like figure it out. That's my plan this whole summer, is going to be like networking the crap out of places, doing presentations for places, and getting on as many podcasts as possible. But I think this sounds gorgeous. And also, like, if you're feeling that relaxed, just like, I'm just going to enjoy this month of March, then that's exactly where I think you should be.
Yes.
I love that. I'm so excited for you. Keep us posted if you have any like ideas and breakthroughs, and just enjoy this webinar or the rodeo. It's going to be
Yes,
great.
definitely. Thank you.
Of course. I love you. What about Carrie, Amber, and Deb? I know you're taking care of your nugget.
Yeah, I can go.
Let's do it. Carrie, how are things going? Oh, also
Things,
a win. So I'm gonna say, Demetria, your win is like someone's been listening to your podcast. One has been awesome.
And my planner. I'm very excited about that.
And planner. So what are your wins, Carrie?
my wins are in February, I was so nervous because I felt like no one was reaching out to me. And then I think the last 2 weeks, people were reaching out to me, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I have a good way of like tracking, who reaches out to me and like my conversion. I created like a drop down in my Google Sheet, like different data, like did I reschedule them for March, or am I pending a consult? Like, did they reach out to me and say, hey, I'm interested? Um,
Share
like,
that with
did they pay? Did we
no,
schedule? So,
we would love that because I'm all about some spreadsheets. So
oh,
if you could share that with the crew because that would be awesome.
yeah, it's been really helpful. One of my friends is so good at spreadsheets that like my brain just doesn't work like that. When I feel like I'm very organized, but when I look at a spreadsheet, I'm like, what where should it go? So that was a really big win. And I am feeling just very cool about this boutique event.
Mm.
Um, I've been on cloud nine, I think, because so for anyone who's not in Raleigh, there's this place called Fenton. It's a really cool, like,
Fenton?
yeah, Fenton
Yeah.
like posted it in their events, but they didn't have my name on it, which is fine, but I reposted it. So it was okay. But I saw like it had like a calendar and I was like, oh my God, that's my event. I am so freaking pumped that they posted that. So it's just like a very cool new kind of like shopping area where they have boutiques, apartments, places to eat, and it's really cool. So in my opinion, so I thought it was so cool that their Instagram was like Vestique, like this event is happening, but I wish they said my name, but it's okay. I'm still taking it as a win because I can repost it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Also, Fenton's
uh,
like that's such a huge like I mean like for anyone that is not in the triangle, which is everyone I think except for us, like it's a brand new place. Like everyone is going there. Everyone's going to the new restaurants. Like they've been booked out. Like all the restaurants have been booked out like weeks in advance. It's ridiculous. So this is very exciting.
I know I'm so excited. I'm also very nervous, but I have um been just planning my like what I'm going to talk about. They've been great with me. Like I just went in last week just to get some content to kind of market it. And I think I'm doing a good job of promoting it, like not jamming it down people's throats, but also just sending the flyer to other people who I think are available because it's at a weird time for people who have like go into the office. But I'm taking that as a win. So I've been very excited about that. I am working on just reaching out to people. So I talked to the owner of a professional organization company here in Raleigh, where Megan, I know we talked about that I really just want to elevate kind of who I'm marketing to. And and every time this company posts a closet, it's like a really nice closet. Like you can tell whose closet it might be. It
Yeah.
is not like the one I have upstairs. So I connected with her and I kind of had she wasn't super warm, but I learned a lot from her. Like I took it like, damn, I feel a little bit like small getting off the call with her. But then I was like, she's been in this business for 13 years. Like I just started full time 2 months ago. So I tried to like flip it and say, like, okay, like what did I get out of that call? And ended up being really productive after getting some things kind of tied up.
I love that. And so are you going to be working with her? Is that where, or did you say when
Um,
you come back when you in X amount of time?
my my goal on the call with her was just to get to know what they do. Honestly, like, well, to be honest, I want her to know me. I wanted her to know me to talk to people. So, and I wanted to learn from her. So I started the call like, oh, I really want to support you. Like sometimes when I go into people's houses, they're like, wow, my closet looks great. I wonder what my pantry will look like. And I was like, I know you all are all well known. I want to learn more about your process so I can benefit you. And I was like, and in return, if someone says, wow, I don't have any clothes, like we just got rid of all of them. We know Carrie Lang, she's a personal stylist in the area.
Yeah.
So I framed it that way. Um, I got a little bit nervous. So I was
Yeah.
kind of all over the place because I was like, well, I'm doing this right now and I'm going to change it here. So I learned from that. But she did say that there's a school nearby that is doing a like a silent auction. And she's like, I'm not a big fan of silent auctions, but I'll get you in connection with that person. She goes, because that might be your demographic, like the people that
Joiner, I can get you connections, of course. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I've got so many schools like because Joiner was still a public school, but like all of the private schools, and I'm gonna connect you with great idea. That's such a good idea
yeah.
because that could be a huge thing. Also, Demetria and Amber, that could be things for you guys. Amber, more so, I'm thinking
Oh, you're
of
frozen.
oh, me? Am I frozen? Can you guys hear me?
I think it was my connection. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be
You're
sorry.
back. I think
It was like but I'm like, that's why I like the idea. So like of doing brainstorming sessions because I'm like, oh, I think that's going to be really helpful to get ideas. So what I'm thinking is like, yes, I think that's a really good idea. And I think that like, so I don't know if this is where you were wanting to go with the coaching, but this is a little bit more A-line, but it's like, I think that what actually first thoughts, I think that within, and you guys can see this screen, right? This screen where I'm taking notes. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
It popped up over there and I was like, I hope you can't see that. Well, it's just my background. But within your thoughts of feeling nervous, I there was a coach that I learned from 2 summers ago, and his whole thing, he's Peter Shaw, and if you guys ever look him up, and his whole thing is scary and exciting. So it's like if I think that nervousness is a sign of like, oh my gosh, like this is next level. This is where I want to go. This is where I'm going. Like, and know that that is going to be one of the best ways for you to up level your self concept very quickly. I did a presentation for this women in tech company, and it's women in media and tech, and it was for like all these New York City execs from like all the television companies, like HGTV, like all of them. And my friend from college got me this opportunity. And when you talked about like the cold feeling, it's a very demanding industry, I think sometimes. And when people get to a certain place, they kind of forget to be like human. And so it's like I got feedback that was like, this is horrible. I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, change all of it before tomorrow, or else this isn't gonna work. And I was like, okay, wow. So I spent many an evening up crying and trying to like get this presentation together. And literally, like I think I had spent like 3 nights where I slept for like 3 hours last summer. And it was the best thing to up level my self-concept because I was like, now I'm like, I can see myself speaking to execs and it's like no big deal. And I'm like, yeah, they are not going to be kind, probably, because that is not the culture that they have been raised in, which is a shame. But that is a great thing for you to up level your self concept. The more you can go towards things like that, where you see yourself in the room with, like, I am on brand with these people, amazing. So, first
Yeah,
off,
it
let's
was
talk.
a very like tough love moment where she was like, okay, because she was like, oh, what's your email? And I was like, duopersonalstyling@gmail.com. And she was like, okay, first thing I'm going to tell you is get a new email. Like, make it Carrie at duoperson. And I was like, as soon as I got off the call, I spent the entire day doing just that. And I did feel a lot better. Like, I was like, okay, this is just kind of like the next level. And like that was great. Like I needed that. Sure, it's super warm, but I know I benefited from it. And then I haven't been super into thought work and like doing that, but I know I was getting really hard on myself. So I was like, I've been two months in right now. Like, let me just write down all my wins. Like, let me just jot down all my wins.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, this list is long. I'm so hard on myself. Like, I had to just kind of flip the mindset and just try it. It takes me a while. I'm very stubborn. It takes me a while to like try something, even if I don't it's not like I don't believe it. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just stubborn in that way, but I'm working on
Yeah.
it.
It's like I'm learning to be more flexible and understand like because it's like the thing is like our brains don't typically want to do what's working, even if it works, because it requires more energy. So, and
Mhm.
I like it's so funny. I'll be like, well, I can just do this post really quick and then I can do my coaching. And what happens is the post takes so much longer because I'm filled with mental drama. And I realized this morning I was doing my self-coaching. I went through like a car wash and I was like just doing it like talk to type. And I was like, the reason why things have been taking so long is because I am not in teacher Megan mode. When I was working full time, having this coaching business, like I was getting shit done left and right. Like I was like, no, I have no time for mental drama. Report cards done, business done. It was just like everything was just happening because I was like, I don't have time to bullshit like right now. I was like,
Right. Right.
but I coached myself every day in the morning on my way to school because I was like, that's how I could get out of my head. Like, oh my God, this is too much to do. I have to email all these parents. I was like, once I got all that shit out, then it was just like all action, moving forward, productive. And so I would encourage you to just like give it a try for like maybe like a week. Just write down 5 wins. Dot work can be different for everyone. This is just a structure that like I created for you guys, but do what works. Try it for just this week and see how much more productive you can be because I know that you are capable of reaching out to way more people. And I know that you can get so many more opportunities. Like Fenton is the beginning. Like it is like the not even like the first snowflake on the tip of the iceberg of your business. That's where you guys we're all at. We're all at like the tip of the iceberg about what our businesses are about to be. And so if you can get out of your own way to like discover more of that iceberg, I literally like I think that it's just we are our own worst enemy. The mountain is you. Is a book I
Yeah.
heard.
I feel I feel like I'm on a teeter-totter a lot of the times, like a seesaw, like I'm in the middle, like trying to stand on it, like that's the balancing act of like stop doubting yourself, stop doubting yourself. Okay, you got this, you got this. You know what I mean? Like, that's how my brain feels.
And I think that that is that to get off the teeter totter, anytime you notice you're like, first off, try it like at the beginning of the day, write down 3 wins that you've had like the day before or something like that. Try it to start the day. And what I've realized is like I get into mental drama also like halfway through the day. And so that's when I get coached. So I'm like, I literally plan like morning I coach myself, afternoon I get coached. So it's like I've just been trying to like that's literally like how I've been trying to do my calendar. It's like self-coach, coach with Sarah, self-coach, coach, self-coach. That's a 200K call where I'm considering myself coach, self-coach, coach, self-coach or get coach, self-coach. Like I've literally done it every single day to try and keep my brain. Oh, and this is my new coach. So yeah, I literally have like self-coach, coach, self-coach, coach, like every single day because I'm just onto myself and I know that I'm gonna probably screw myself up. And in a launch, like I'm literally getting coached like twice a day sometimes. Like yesterday, I got coached twice a day because I'm like, I know I'm just gonna screw myself over at every opportunity, and I really don't want to do that. It's like so, and that's been really, really helpful. So I just like, and also you you all have paid for me for the month of March. If you start feeling the teeter totter, post that shit in the group. You can send a group and text message in the group. I can hype you up and get you out of that. I promise. That's like literally why you paid me. To use me, you know? And okay, so that's the mindset stuff. How are you feeling about that? And then let's get into the action stuff.
Oh, I'm feeling good. Like I'm happy that I changed it and I'm working on it. Like that's a huge win for me. Yet I think I told you on my one-on-one, like I have to get slapped in the face with something to try something new. And that's like why? Why do I do that to myself?
Yep. Well, because that's what all of us need. It's like, and a lot of times, like the universe will give you the same lesson over and over and over again until it's like enough times or a big enough thing for you to be like, oh shit. I was like, I need to do that.
Yeah.
So love that. And now, so for the action stuff,
Mhm.
first off, I want to hear because you are the CEO of your business, what other ideas did that spark for you to get it's okay. First off, instead of nervous, what
Mhm.
would you like to feel about like this event and
Oh,
reach to more people?
excited.
Okay. What thought
And
can you?
I wrote that in like my, like, I call it my gratitude document now,
Oh,
that like I'm getting myself uncomfortable, because with anything in the world, even if you weren't like trying to run a business, right? Like the only way you grow is by getting uncomfortable. Like if you work out, if you want to like just be like just learn something new, you have to get uncomfortable. So that's
this is one of my favorite quotes. Discomfort is the currency to or of your dreams. So it's
yeah,
like,
I need that tattooed on my forehead.
me too. I was like, I'm gonna
Tattooed
like
on my forehead.
happy about it. Don't worry, you're just doing it and it's okay. So
Mhm.
what other actions did you as like the CEO, are you like, okay, I'm noticing this. What's your plan of action? And then I can give you some more ideas
Plan of action for,
for this. So it's like you've got the event, the Fenton event,
yep.
and reaching out to more people.
Oh, okay. My idea is that I need to make sure I connect with the boutique after. So I want to talk to them like, hey, how many people showed up? How many sales did you get from this event? From like, it's from 9 to 12. Like, how did we do? Right. Because I'm there that whole time. And then that's going to start a portfolio where I can do that other places, where I can get in front of people, offer an incentive. Hey, if you book a consult with me, within the next 48 hours, I'll give you this percentage off. So I think I want to start building a portfolio of kind of my data that I get from this boutique, and I could use that to, ask to do other events.
Amazing. Other events. I love this. What is also your goal for the month of March?
Um, I want to, I had a couple people that have just been like busy. They reached out and they
Mhm.
were busy. Um, I want to
Those are
make like I want to get them kind of locked in, but I've been following up with them and I got one of them scheduled. Someone
awesome.
else said that they'd reach back out. I want to I want, what was I gonna say? Keep thinking about how to elevate my offers and figure out how I want to niche down, because that's the other thing I think um is important. Everybody says that, right? Like everyone says you have to niche down and, find an audience and go after them, like go after that audience. So I really want to, put some more focus on that.
Because I know that you were talking about like potentially like male like CEOs and things like that. Love the idea. Think that's awesome. But also like let's get you making like you can meet like so for me, I scoped to coaches and I've actually run back out to all entrepreneurs. So because I was like, all these systems could totally work for all entrepreneurs as of 2 weeks ago. And so it's like you can go through the ebb and flow of niche, but like focusing
Mhm.
on like what's going to protect your profit for the month of March, being like, hey, like I just want to like how much do you want to make in the month of March?
Oh my goodness. I want,
What would be just like a fun number? Because we know we're that like you're not putting all this pressure on it. Like, but what would be like so much fun to help a certain number of people?
I would love to make at least like 3,000. So like that wouldn't like work wise, that wouldn't like kill me, and that would be great.
Awesome. What would be the circumstances that you would need to like how many clients would you need to get that 3K?
I would need 3 clients to like go through my whole program,
Okay.
like going in their closet, and creating a lookbook, which I think like the two out of the 3 people that reached out to me are local, but I still could do it virtually.
Uh-huh. And
So
so within that, it's like, okay, so we got in these two, you said you scheduled one for March. Is the other one scheduled, trying to get scheduled in March?
oh, I actually scheduled 2. I lied. I have one tomorrow and then I have one
Ew.
next week. And then this other girl said she's just been like really busy, but she like appreciated me reaching out, but she'll reach out to me.
Okay, well, I would say get a deposit from her and like be like, hey, like, so here, let's get a date. And like, then if she's in, it's great. But all you need is one more person. So what can we do to move that? As again, we're getting your brain, and then I see some things in the chat and like ideas that I have for you as well to get
Mhm.
that person. Get, and let's say two, let's get two more people. Like if you were to get two more people right
Oh,
now.
I have someone else who's interested, but I know she's very busy, so I'm just waiting for her response. So I technically have like another prospect.
Course you do, because your business is awesome. So what would you need to do to bring either the convert those two into like people who have actually purchased, or bring in two more? Because those two people are gonna buy.
Yes. I don't know. Like I do some more outreach. I can always um do more. I can always just lightly comment on something, and like I do see people that are constantly looking at my things and they're like my repeat offenders. So um yeah, I could always just do a little bit more outreach, like spend some time. I'm good at like planning things on my calendar, but sometimes I don't follow it. Like I'm like, oh, I can do that in a minute.
Yep. I know. Well, that's what I also like. I've been planning like the co-working times because it's like when it's like when I'm forced to do things because I have to be on a Zoom meeting, and I can try and see. This week's a little wild, but I could try and see if we could plan a time. Can't. Nope. But next week I can plan a time for us to do a co-working session. I'm gonna start doing them on Fridays, and like where we just sit down and get to work. Like Amber came to one on like 2 Saturdays ago, and it's like you don't have time. Like if you were planning on doing other things, it's like, okay, well, I have to have my Zoom here. So at least I'm forced to sit down and just like get it done. So maybe that could be helpful. You could also reach out to like the people in our group to see if anyone else wants to do like a co-working session. I'm don't know if anyone would, but that would be fun.
Mhm.
'Cause that accountability is so helpful when you're like, okay, I'm just gonna like you and me, we're both gonna sit down. My friend Neha and I do it all the time. I'm like, okay, you're gonna reach out to 10 people and I'm gonna reach out to 10 people right now. We've got the script, let's go. It's like, yes, it's uncomfortable. Let's just do it. And then it's just like, then you once you do the first one, it's so much easier. But I think that's a great idea. And like I would say something that I was also thinking about doing, instead of doing outreach, like I'm still gonna do outreach and I'm gonna meet like all these self-coaching scholars or like people who work for the life coach school, but I'm also going to start focusing my outreach more on the collaboration perspective. And I think that that might be a great option for you.
Yeah, it's been helpful in the past. Like it's it just makes you think so much more out of the box. Like when she said that school, I picked up my phone and I was like, realtors always have to be on point. They have to look good. They're showing the houses. Like, I'm going after you too.
I'm also going after realtors. Let's do it together. Like, I think that would be great. That was something I was like thinking about. I'm like, yes, they totally could use business coaching. Like going cold calling and like doing door to door. And so I think that's a phenomenal idea. I actually have one that I could Bianca, I taught her son, and so I can
Yeah,
have her.
I just thinking about this, I just thought of a really good idea.
What is it? Share.
Um, there's this, I have a realtor in my neighborhood who like I always thought she like owns our neighborhood because her sign is everywhere.
Oh,
And she's been wanting to create content with me just because she's like, I don't know what else to post. Like, what else can I post
awesome.
um about like houses? And I was like, well, because I don't know anything about houses, I could probably really help you, like what people want to know. But also we can maybe collaborate in the sense where like maybe I can style you and then you can play on like almost like coach other realtors. Like she can kind of like be like, hey, like this is what you should do when you're like showing a house, when you're meeting with people. Maybe
Yeah.
she can also kind of leverage that, and how like we can leverage me as like you're being a professional. This is how you should dress.
Maybe you could do like a you could do a presentation together for some local people, and like that could totally work.
Yeah.
Like like, it's like, but what I want to do is like, and the thing that, and to be sure, I was gonna mention this to you as well, like I have been trained and understand very much so that you've got one offer and you sell that, and I understand the reasoning behind it. You don't want to put time and energy into something that is not going to make you more money. Totally checks out. However, one of the things that I've been like within networking and things like that, it's like I think it's like, how do you get the people to do your presentation and things like that? It's the networking. And I think like having an event like that, it would be phenomenal. I think it would be so good. And I would say that these are like, instead of thinking them as like a separate offer, thinking them about as like either a freebie or like a short-term promotional event. And I actually think that's okay. Like I've kind of shifted my stance away from like what I've been taught, because I think that's a lot of times how you get the recognition. So I think that also works. Demetria also posted that she's doing a giveaway for the event. You could do a giveaway for like a free closet makeover in exchange for like a testimonial, and
Yeah.
like get those people's faces up there and being like, hey, like I got this too. Like people would love that. Or a free lookbook, like something that costs is less time.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. And just word of mouth. Like word of mouth is amazing.
Yep. And so it's like, I would say that like, so it's like do a freebie. And what I'm doing is I'm like making a list of like, when we can be in this energy with each other, like we want to use our brains to like brainstorm, and then also put it on your annual plan. And so recognizing that this doesn't need to be done right now, it can be
Mhm.
like at a later time, you know? So it's like, okay, like I've got more schools for you to reach out to. And I've got a friend that you can totally reach out to, Kelly. She's awesome, and she is I think she might do the next round. And I also taught her son, and she is like working with high school students to get them ready for college and doing their essays and stuff. So like she knows like a ton of people in Raleigh. Like she would be an awesome person to connect with, and like I think that'd be awesome. And so this is kind of how next week's gonna run. Amber and Demetria and Deb, if you are available, do you guys have any more ideas for
Yes.
Carrie?
Tell me.
Like I would, and that's what
I
I want.
love this.
Let's like think, maybe you get on podcasts of like people like who are designers, things like that. What are you guys thinking?
So Carrie, I think I sent you like this, I think she's some sort of stylist that she's like really big, and I'm forgetting her name now, Nina something. And what I saw is how I actually found her is this big coach, her name is the College Nutritionist, like she has like a ton of followers. She had posted a few times on her story, like I'm loving my I got stylist, or I got Nina as my stylist. So I think honestly, just like anyone with like a big platform, or like not even big, but just like anyone, if you're like, hey, can I style a few outfits for you? I mean, I'm not sure exactly
Mhm.
what you would want to give them, but just styling a few outfits in exchange for you to post on my story. Like, I did personal styling with Carrie and I'm loving it. Like, this is the before and after too. Like, this is how I would wear it before, and then this is how I look after now.
Yes. And it's so funny you say that too, Amber. I have to look back. I feel like I remember that. I have to look back in our messages, but I went to an event, Megan, the one you're like, I wanted to go to this. And it talked about like how influencers could really help you. And
Yeah.
someone was like, hey, you should come to this. And I was like, I'm not an influencer. She's like, and I was like, well, let's go. Like I can always learn something. And I connected with two people who have like tons of followers. And she was like, I love your style. And I was like, good, thank you. I know I need to do that. That's a great idea.
I think it'd be awesome. And I know somebody, Olivia Carpenter in the area. We went to like literally I've known her since she was like 6. So that could
Yeah,
be
send me your profile.
yeah, duh. She's adorable. I've heard from my friend Lauren, the one who is a manager at Charlotte's. I've heard she's not the most like personable person.
I
And
gotta tell you, but I don't love Charlotte's clothes.
yeah, and I don't think that she does either. I think that
Oh,
it's not really her thing, but she's working there.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's like work with people who you like, but also she might know other people in the area. It's kind of like that's more of like a competitive thing, but like you can go to other shops and like we talked about like going to not Paul Mitchell,
Peter Millar.
Peter Millar, going to like the nice shops and being like, hey, I would love to do like reaching out. I think that would be a brilliant plan. And I love the idea of like Instagram influencers. We all need to be doing that. I think why not? And like to be sure you would give them your planner and be like, I would love to
Yeah,
like
all they have to do is post that planner. All they have to do is take a picture with that planner, like,
yeah, so good. And Amber, like you could work with one of them, or like I'm trying to think about ideas for like, but if you work with like influencers, like I feel like you are so personable. I feel like you could go on and be like, hey, want to collaborate and do like an Instagram live? Like we could totally go live. You can reach my followers and I could reach yours, and it could just be like, I think that would be awesome. Because that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm like talking not necessarily to influencers, but like that's a great idea. Other coaches and being like, hey, like you've got this market, I've got this market, like maybe someone who coaches college students or things like that. That could be an idea that you could be like, okay, like I coach college students, I help them with the eating stuff. It's like I help them with academics, you help them with like mindset in other ways. So I think that could be really cool. Or like I love the idea of going to organization people, even like the freaking Container Store, Carrie. Like, why not? Like, worst thing they can say is no, but they also have a huge reach, and you can get on like I'm sure they have like a national mailing list. Like, I don't know if that would be a possibility, but I mean, like to get featured on something like that, that could be.
yeah, I would love to get featured. I think I'm gonna put that on my like a goal, an annual goal. I'd love to get featured because I'm meeting I'm meeting with someone who has an app. Literally, it's like styling app. It's like literally what I do. I'm meeting with her tomorrow, and I was looking at her website, and she's featured in a bunch of places, and I was like, that'd be really cool.
That's something I
And
was considering doing this summer. One of my clients, she does masters in media, but it's more for experts of influence. So she kind of teaches you how to be like an expert of influence, essentially an influencer, and make money from it. And that's not where I see my business going, but I could see getting featured being like something really valuable. Like in like she's featured in Forbes. And I was like, if you could help me with that in Huffington Post, I'm like, that would be great. That'd be great for me.
Mhm.
It's always a good thing to have. So I love that. Any other ideas? Demetria, do you have any ideas? And Deb? If you think of some, post it in the group, post it in our group text.
Yeah, or any like solutions I could solve or problems. I said that backwards. Any problems I can solve for people.
I would say like the looking professional thing is something I'm thinking of. Amber?
I have another one. I've got you some ideas. So I'm also a coach part-time for a weight loss coach, and someone posted the other day in her Facebook group, saying that she got a personal stylist and how worth it was. And she was like, it cost me, like 300 Australian dollars, which was kind of an investment for me, but like it was so worth it. I got like $500 worth of clothes. She went shopping with me. So I think that's another one. Like, and actually I was thinking for the future, because I thought of maybe Christina one day coming into like my group program and teaching like something about dating. But like maybe you could come into this future group program like on a week I have off and like teach them, like, especially when people are struggling with body image, like how exactly to dress it in a way that feels good to them, and like any tips to like make it more flattering. I don't really like the word flattering, but in a sense, like make them look skinnier or like feel more confident in what they're wearing.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually thought of that too. There was someone I had a client, this exact thing happened to me when she was like, oh, I want to lose like 15 more pounds and then I'll reach out to you. Oh, I want to lose this much. Like, and I was like, if I had, before I started this group, I was like, if I had like a nutritionist I knew that could talk to people about, what, you know what I mean? Like what greater feeling that like, if you're, feeling a little more comfortable, you're feeling a little more confident, and then you have like new clothes to put on. You're like on
Yeah,
top
like I
of
think a big problem could be like, how to look good in your clothes without needing to lose any weight. Like you might just need to make a few adjustments
right,
how
right,
you're dressing, and that can like change the whole look and feel of the outfit.
right, right. Yes, that's another good
Love this idea. And I was thinking like, because I want to like feature you guys, but I want you guys to get into my audience. Like obviously like, during a launch, I'm like trying to focus just on like my business, but I'm thinking in April, what if like we could all do, for at least for me, I would love to have all of you guys on my Instagram and us do an Instagram live, like,
one.
and then
Nice.
collaboration in that way. If you want me on your page, great, but also like I would love to like have you, because I think you could teach so much. Like Amber, I would love to have you on. Like there's just so many people who I follow now that are from like all different walks of life. Like I think that's how all of us start. We just kind of like bring our friends, and like who knows, our friends could use it. And Demetria, absolutely. Like I feel like that could be a really good idea. I'm loving these brainstorming sessions. We need more of this. That's why I was like, I realized like this is what I want the next mastermind to be like half about, like is just getting ideas. Cause like the mindset is great, but it's also like if the mindset without like you're only using my actions right now, but they're gonna have the modules all ahead of time. So I'm like, go through the modules at your pace and let's get big.
It's so helpful to hear someone else's like everyone's opinion too, because right, like I can only think of so many things, but I like to think I know how to put outfits together, but someone who knows someone or struggles in a different way, like that helps me, like give me more.
I think this is awesome. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do this for like the full first hour of every call or the second hour. It'll be like a mix. That's how I'm planning, mixing it up. But I love this. This is
Thank
awesome.
you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thanks.
Of course. And I think it helped everyone to like talk through this. Like I think that's on we can all only benefit from it. Because there's so many
Mhm.
people that need help and we just need to mainstream this. So love it. I want to see if Amber or Deb, if you need any coaching for the last 10 minutes, we can do some quick stuff.
Deb, if you want anything, just speak up. But first that conversation was really helpful. And I was even thinking like with you, Megan, like I could do something on stress eating as a business owner, like for a business or like as for the coaches, like stress eating as a coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Or
there's
like just
like you
not
could literally
having
collab with
time.
anyone.
We're all so excited.
What'd you say, Carrie?
Like not having time. I know like I'm looking at Megan's schedule and it looks like that's like the hardest part for me when I don't have time is like what do I eat, and then I'm eating crap, and then I'm just eating like a lot of it, and like I need help.
Yeah,
Okay.
that conversation just like opened up that like you can literally collab with anyone on anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
But I did want to say I've been noticing some resistance to just like doing things for my business.
Yeah.
And I've been telling myself I am just lazy, which is not helpful.
Nope.
But I just like recently, so I have my masterclass or my workshop. I'm doing a workshop on hunger and fullness on Thursday, so in 2 days.
Uh-huh.
And I have not practiced it once. I have like made the outline in the slides, but like I haven't practiced it at all. It's on my calendar for today. But I just feel like I'm just like, I don't want to do this much work anymore. And I think where this was coming from is I was doing my tax stuff from last year. And I like basically, after my expenses, I made like $0.
Mm.
And so I was like, wow, I worked for an entire year, came out with $0 after expenses. And so I think like, I know this year could be different. But I think maybe that just like invalidated me or invalidated myself a little with like all the work I had done for so long, and that it like didn't really result in much.
Okay, so this thought didn't result in much. If you keep thinking this thought, it's just going to create if you keep thinking it didn't result in much, you're not going to create much results. Go because it's going to hold you back. So it's like, and also you're going to be looking for everything to have a direct return. And if it doesn't, it's going to be very defeating. You know, it's like, because
Yeah. And that's like my last workshop I did, like I had like one actual person besides like friends and people that were there. and she didn't like, I didn't get any consults from it. So I think maybe that was like another thing too. Like, I'm doing this again and this is a lot of work. And like, who knows if anyone's even going to sign up for a consult.
Yep. And I want you to prep, like one of the things like that Demetria was saying is like prep if no one books a consult. First off, something that Stacy told us, she was like, webinars aren't for sales, they're for building excitement.
I like that.
So one of the things that I got coached on last night from my friend Charlotte was she was like, so how many emails do you send after a webinar? And I was like, the one halfway through. And she's like, you build all of this excitement. I'm changing this for the next round, and forgive me, y'all, I'm learning as I go. But she's like, you only send one sales email? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I send 10. She's like, I send 2 the next day, 2 the next, or it's like, the way I'm doing it for this next round is I'm going to do 2, 2, and 2. And she's like, you build all this momentum and do nothing with it. She's like, you need to start doing stuff with it. And Stacy doesn't teach us this, but she does it. Because I've been looking, and she was like, do you watch Stacy's emails? And I said, no. And she forwarded me all of these emails. And because I signed up for like the offer week thing, I was like, yeah, of course, I'll do it. So I stopped getting the emails. But she was like, I take these emails and I literally change it to being my words. And she's like, you need to do another webinar and you need to actually build excitement and you need to like get people hype about it afterwards. Like Carrie was saying that she was like making sure that she has the contacting them after. Also, Carrie, write this email in advance because afterwards you're going to be freaking out and like after the event itself, and then schedule it to send so it's like ready. But like that's what I would say that like maybe because I was not taught that way, but I was like, now I'm learning as of last night, we need to build more excitement and use that momentum for something and really like go hard after a webinar. I'm literally doing another webinar in 2 weeks because I was like, oh, I'm going to learn and adapt and change really quick. But then of course, if you're thinking that it's never going to result in much, it's like the energy that you're going to be in is not going to be like, I didn't even reach out to people like 24 hours before the launch. And again, I got the feedback, like you shouldn't have had the webinar. And I was like, well, that's helpful. I was like, next time it'll be better. So it's like, now if you're like, okay, if you're like, how could you use the moment? It's like, how could you see this as building moment? It's like, you didn't know to do the like building momentum for something because I didn't know it either until like literally last night. So what if this webinar does bring a consult? Would it be worth it?
Yes. And I think I've gotten just like really focused on just the money part of it and not like the other intangibles, which I'm sure is just a common problem when I just feel like the more I've gotten into like the business side of things, I'm just like, the money, where is it? And forgetting like all the rest of the business that's involved.
Yep. And I know that we just need to really just redirect your brain very quickly. I wanted to show you, and I don't know if I still have it, but I have like my initial P&Ls and I didn't make any money until last year. Like I was in serious, like this is for 2021, but for 2020, here it is. And this is just like a way that you can track your expenses. Also, if you need to go, that's totally fine. But I made 15 and I spent 26. And so I was negative 15. Like you were break even. I was hard negative. Even last year, I was still hard negative, or 2 years ago. This year is the first year I've actually been in what's called the red. And I want to let you know, fun fact, all businesses should not be, it's called in the, I forget which is which, red or black. But do you know what it is, Demetria? What is it?
This year you're in the black.
Okay, black.
The red is when you're negative.
When you're negative is red?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to be in the red for the first 3 to 5 years. That's why people have credit cards. That's why the credit was designed. I talked with my other friend, Nicole, because again, I'm being my ass coach all the fucking time. But she was like, credit was designed for business owners because what happens is no one has enough capital. Usually, most people do not have enough money to start a business and be making money within the first 5 years. Like businesses, think about brick and mortar, how many overhead they have. They typically don't 5 to 10. So it's like typically online businesses like 3 to 5 years, but 5 years is more the average. So it's like, I think that you are above track. I don't even think that you are on track. I think that you are doing above track what's expected. But I think what happens is our expectations are those of the consumer. And I don't worry about it. I'll fix it. But of the consumer and of an average spender, not a business owner. When you are an average person, you should like debt is bad and like you don't want to have like things like that. And like, it's like because they don't have the ability to make money like we can. Like I was talking with Rob and I was like, oh, it was like, well, we need $1,000 more. I was like, I can just get another client and I can cover that. And he was like, do you realize how crazy that is? Our income isn't fixed. Therefore, we should be investing. What I've been told is like invest as everything that you earn in your business till the first 100K. And it paid off. Like, because you don't have the education, you don't have the experience, you need the support in order to get that. So that's exactly what you're supposed to do. It just doesn't feel good as your brain just hasn't self-concept shifted from average person to CEO just yet.
Yes. Yeah,
You know?
that's exactly right. Like I'm not in the mindset that like what I make isn't what I have. It's not like I make $5,000 and then I have $5,000 to spend in
No.
just life. It's like I have $5,000 and then I have taxes and I have expenses. And so it's like, oh, okay. And I think maybe that was just a little shocking to me. And I was like, oh, like
That's why
this is how business works.
Yep. So what I would recommend, and I'm learning this on Wednesday, is save around 35 to 40%. So every $100 that you earn, save 40. So, and like I'm learning how to make a separate bank account. So I literally just like when I was a teacher, we got half of our pay or like $1,000 from my paycheck always went because I didn't get paid for the summers. Also, we're going to go over a little bit. If you can stay on, awesome. If not, rewatch this because this is going to be very, very valuable for your business brains. Okay. But within, so I just had that money taken out because I didn't get paid over the summer. And then I had, it was called a summer fund that I used. I think you can create that. I think that you have to be a teacher in order to do that, but you can do it like manually. And that's what I'm going to start doing is like taking like money out of my account. Every single $1,000 I make, 400 is going to savings for taxes. And I actually have this system where I'm actually doing payroll. So I'm paying taxes as of November. Remember how I said that there was like this crazy thing and might have to pay like $31,000 in taxes. I found out it's only 3. So things are definitely better. It was like, I don't know how that was a discrepancy that was that large, but things are good. It was just one of those things that you want to be preparing for, but also like I just invested Jackie's 15K and I have 15K in savings, but I don't want to spend 15K right now. So I just opened up a business credit card and I'm going to pay her the 2,500 a month. And then I'm going to gradually pay back that credit card because I know you and I both know you're going to make money this year and you're going to be able to afford that. And so instead of having to like stress about how could I afford this, the credit card still works for getting a tax deduction. So let's say you make 50K this year or like in 100K, that's an easier number. So let's say you make 100K and you invest 30K, you only get taxed at a 70K rate versus 100K. And this is something that like, so it's like the more that it's like the complete opposite of the average consumer spending. The more that you spend on your business, the better your taxes are, the better your business it balances out to be. And I didn't know about this stuff. Like I thought credit was bad. Like you should always pay off your credit card in full. Like that was like the way that like my family has always been. It was like, but I'm growing a business. It's a very, very different mindset. It's like literally the opposite of everything that you know about finances is like really switched on its head. Now, I'm not saying that like invest like 70K if you're making 50K. Like I invested like 66K and I made 120. So it's like maybe like half and half, but like the way that you can think about it is very different. So like now knowing that like making $0 is actually quite ahead of the curve in terms of business, what are your thoughts now?
I feel a lot better. Because yes, from a traditional standpoint, when someone looks at like their work and they're like, well, I made $0, then it's like everything has gone wrong. But like people are used to just making 50K every single year consistently and it never changes. Whereas mine, like, it's just gonna go up forever. So I guess that's another good thought I can use is we're only going up from here. Like I don't think I'm gonna make less than $0 this year. So we'll
I
continue.
invested a fuck ton more in 2021. So I did 47 and then I kept investing more, but I knew I was going to make more. It's like the income and it's like it's not linear. And that's why, like, especially as like with our businesses, like, and we're also like, I have a love-hate relationship with capitalism, but like we are in a capitalist economy, like it really does work in our favor. You get so much more if you invest. Like it's like when you think about like businesses as a whole, like that is supposed to be what makes our economy go around. So all the tax breaks, all the tax deductions, like whenever I heard about that as an average person, it was always in such a negative light, but it's actually really for you. Like your accountant will show you like that, like the more that you are doing for your business, even if you're at $0, even if you're in like the way negatives, like I was in negative 3 and then negative 15, and it actually I got so much more. Like I made like $5,000 in like my tax deductions. Like I was getting money from the government because they were like, hey, we see that you're trying to start something, like it's gonna be like you're gonna be in the red, right? They're gonna be in the red for like a quite some time. Know that you're safe here. We want you to do this because it makes our economy go around.
Mhm. What were your thoughts that you used like when you saw that the first time?
The first time I saw that, it was like it was just my expectation. I didn't expect to make money for the first 5 years. I was like, if this isn't like, I was like, because I knew, well, not making money, but like, because I kind of expected for this third year to be like, okay, I'm actually going to be seeing the money that I'm spending. But I also knew I was still working full time. For these first 2 years, I was working full time for 2020, for these last like 3 months. And then I also was working part time for this year. So I knew that like during that time, like this was my first year full time. I didn't even given myself like a full chance to see what I could do. But I honestly didn't think I was going to make money this year. And I thought like next year, I was like, okay, next year I'll be ready. But it was like, yeah, it was weird, but it was like, I just kind of like thought that's how it's supposed to go. I was like, oh yeah, duh. Of course I'm not going to make any money. And I think that like just yeah, knowing that that's like very, very normal. Also, my dad had he opened up a car wash and he told me that like as well, along with like Brooke is here from the life coach school. She was like, yeah, you're not gonna make any money and it's okay. Keep investing.
All
Don't
my family's just like, so are you making money yet? Like, but that's the traditional
yeah.
role of that. And yeah, I think, okay, like the thought like this is normal is definitely helpful because I think also like you go on Instagram and you see all these people that are like, I made 100K in my first year of business and like all of these things. And so your expectations are kind of skewed too. And like
Oh yeah. Well,
what to
actually,
expect and when you're starting a business.
what and also I'm gonna do a post about like what I made each year. My friend Lauren did a post about it. It's like what I made income wise and what I spent and what my actual return was. And being like, I was negative 15 in 2020. I was negative 3. And then I finally like broke even. But last year I only made 50, quote unquote, made 50. And that's like great. I mean, like I was able to be really lean and I was like, yeah, like I was a teacher and I made 40. Win for me. I was like, we're doing great. And yeah, that was like I think I'm glad that you said that because I'll do a post like that and be like, hey, investing is very important when you're starting your business, and invest as much as you can because that's how you get the education. Like I couldn't have known about like even the webinar thing, until I'm like, that was at least a $25,000 conversation last night. I was like, at least. I was like, that's gonna make me, and I go into the mindset like every conversation that I have with people, every time I get coached, I'm gonna make my investment back, and then I add a zero. So like when I got coached by Stacey, I was like, this is a $250,000 coaching call for me. I was like, I'm gonna make $250,000 because of the words she's gonna say right now. And like whatever Charlotte said, I'm like, that's a $25,000 conversation. Like every single thing, I was like, I'm gonna make my money's worth, even if it's just in knowledge that I will implement at a later time.
Mm.
But how does that feel when you're thinking like this is normal? How does that feel?
Calm.
Yeah.
It feels very safe. That's like we're on the right track.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that you do have this workshop on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
people may or may not book consults, but we would love to go into it with like an intention. Like it would be really awesome for X amount of consults to come in just from doing this webinar. What would you like for that to be?
Honestly, just one. I got one consult from it.
Okay. So I want you to look at every single person that's on this call, and I want you to be like, I want you to picture what it would be like for them to work with you and just feel that total shift for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like just being like, oh my God, their life is about to absolutely change. What would you need to do from this calm place that like we're on the right track? What would you want to do about this workshop?
Definitely talking to some more people in DMs, like authentically, just being like, hey, this is coming up. I think this would help you. And reaching back out to people.
Yes.
I definitely am going to do more emails because I sent two like kind of like promotional emails being like, this is what's coming to join the workshop. But I was thinking about that when you had like the one after workshop email. I was like, oh, okay, I'll make one. But I was writing, I was like, maybe I need two. And so I put that on my to-do list this week to make like at least one or two more emails.
Like literally that's like in the workshop, in the webinar piece of 200K, like that's what she says. So I did the like, but I'm gonna do more.
Yeah,
Like,
because it totally makes sense. Like if you're promoting it, like keep telling people about it
yeah.
and how to work with you.
And I think I did hard sell in my posts, but not in emails. And I'm gonna start incorporating some of the email stuff in the Facebook group
Mm-hmm.
to be like whatever I'm saying there, I could be saying here too. Does any, oh good, I'm glad that you needed to hear this. Does anyone else have any like first up, so my idea is doing more emails for the after. I think that like also like not putting so much weight on it, like getting yourself back, like getting out, like it's like not having this be like the only webinar ever, looking at your annual plan and being like planning other webinars, planning collaborations, like having as many future outlets so you're not like dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Really great.
Yeah, because I think part of it too, like on this one, I'm selling one-on-one and the next one I'll be selling group. And so I'm like, this is my last chance to sell one-on-one, but I'm still going to do one-on-one like later on. So maybe I'm like adding extra pressure with that, but just reminding myself that like there are more coming and we're going to promote group for a little, but then we'll go back to doing one-on-one promoting that.
Yes. And like you already have that knowledge. I literally didn't until after I launched this group. Throughout, I got coached by Olivia in October and she was like, so what's your plan now? And I was like, chilling. And she's like, so you should be selling one-on-one really fucking hard right now. And I was like, oh, I didn't even plan my content. Oh no. And she was like, well, you will next time. And I was like, I did. So you'll just keep getting better every single one. But like, yes, you are absolutely, there's so much more that's coming to you. This is not the webinar to end all webinars. It is the beginning, tip of the iceberg, like for you and your webinars. But I'm excited for this for you. Does anyone else have ideas? Like, and also if the goal is of one consult, is it one consult for the end of March or just from this?
I would say from the workshop.
Okay. What is your goal for March? Again, to think of a larger perspective.
One more client.
Okay.
One client.
So any of the brainstorming ideas, ladies, what can we do to get Amber a client for March? I think collaborations are going to be key. Talking with weight loss coaches, I think would be good. Influencers for sure.
Yeah, I kind of just love the advice you gave me, like talk to someone who has a lot of followers. I think even if you might think that, like, I don't know, if you think that they don't have like a struggle with, like their habits, I guess, I think it would still be beneficial, or if you know any of them, or if your friends know any of them, you could kind of just, it might be worth the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could take your advice, like following your content and listening to what you have to say. Like I take your advice, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think I love that advice that you gave me. Just like, it's like very awkward. I feel that they're like almost like little like celebrities, but like that's like what they live off of collaboration and stuff like that. So yeah.
Demetria, do you have any ideas?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything right now other than networking.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head is, like being out and meeting people. So that's where my head has been for me. So are there groups that maybe would benefit from that? I don't know, like maybe gyms.
Yeah, I could think about more gyms, and I actually know two personal trainers at my gym that I go to, and it was like I like hired one specifically to be like, I'm making another connection and I get personal training out of this, so it's like a win-win. And they both think like what I do is very interesting and they love it. But I think, oh wait, actually I forgot, one of my personal trainers, she actually has an Instagram account. I should totally do that.
Do that. Yes. I'm like, go on their Instagram live and be like, and then they could promote for you and you could promote for them.
Yeah, because the other trainer, she's a little bit older and she has a bit of an older clientele and she like loves what I do. But it's just hard for her people. Like her people don't have like Instagram and stuff. And so I texted her the other day and I said, hey, I have this workshop coming up. If anyone, you know anyone that would want to come, and then they can find me on my website to learn more about me. Like that's a very accessible place for everyone to find me. But I forgot that my other personal trainer had a Instagram account. So I could totally just get on her Instagram.
And also like find out where she gets her clients. Like the other older one, like where does she have her people? She must have some sort of list somewhere, whether it's Facebook connections, whether it's like, I was talking with one of my clients, and apparently LinkedIn, you can actually go live on LinkedIn, and like that's how he's way more connections there. And I was like, do that. You're a leadership coach. Like wherever you have, instead of a Facebook group, he's gonna make a LinkedIn group. And I was like, perfect. So it's like that goes for everybody. It's like, how can we just like make more connections? Carrie, I was thinking about you with like going on LinkedIn and like finding those executives. That might be really good.
I've been like, that's like lower on my list, but I want to get on there. But Amber, I had two thoughts. There's a gym here. There's a lot of gyms here that are very like community based. Like there's this girl that like won one of our giveaways, and it's a very small gym, and they have like events in her gym all of the time. Like they had a stand-up comedian come to her gym. So if you find, I think, like boutique gyms, I guess, I think that would be super helpful. And if you have any co-working spaces around you, I know here in Raleigh, those are like big networking opportunities. Like my husband goes to one and doesn't tell me about any of the events happening. And I'm like, well, I could be like going to these events because I went to an event like after hours, and they're like, yeah, we do things all the time. And it just like Demetria said, networking is so freaking powerful. So like if there are any like co-working spaces around, even if you just went for the day or did a couple of day passes, which I totally feel you on the spending money thing. I'm like, I don't want to spend any money. Like if you have to invest, like it's going to take time, which I get. Well, I have to just slap in the face with it and then I'll give it.
Yeah. And I think the boutique gyms is a good idea because kind of like you, like you're not going into like Nordstrom probably and being like, hey, let me be your stylist. You're going into the small boutique ones, which
Yes.
same thing, like the gym I go to is Lifetime. So it's like this big giant corporate gym.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know some of the personal trainers, but I don't think I would be able to do like a presentation to everyone. But yeah, the smaller ones I think is a good idea.
And I was
Or like Pilates, you know, like the
Mhm.
little.
yes, like
the-
they are all like I was gonna say like CrossFit. I did CrossFit in Winston. Like that could be a huge place because they are always talking about like your holistic health, like Pilates, and they have an email list. They've got like ways for that are already. That's what I was talking about, like with the podcast stuff. That's already hot. So I would say like decide what you think you could do the best at for March, but also know that all these ideas, again, put them on your annual plan and be like, okay, like this is going to be the month for collaborations with these boutique. It's like, or like just looking up a list of gyms and then like taking time to put this on your annual plan. I think this is awesome. I also co-working spaces. I'm thinking about joining a co-working space on Fridays. I just have to not have clients on Fridays and we'll see.
I went to one last year and I could probably go back and it was like a lifesaver. And also if you guys need like I've started doing this thing called Cave Day, which is an online co-working space. And they have a member form where you can like post your bio and like about you. But it's honestly so helpful. Like it's like $45 a month, I think, which isn't too bad. And you just join on Zoom. They have one every single hour of the day. You just join on Zoom, you go in a breakout room, you tell them what you're working on, your goal, then you do a work together and then you wrap up and then you can keep doing them all day if you want. But that's been really helpful.
So cool.
Love that. And I think that's like the body doubling that's supposed to be very helpful with ADHD. Like there's a whole body, I can find out the name of that too. I think it's 45 a month as well. I think they are all around that, but I love that idea because like especially Carrie, when we were talking about the accountability piece, that is it. That's where a lot of people are. But I'm loving this. I'm sorry we went way over, but I really appreciate these brainstorming times. And I think that this is like I want to make sure that like this is what a mastermind is. It's a mind of it's like we're bringing the minds together. And I'm so excited for this next week. If you guys have any other ideas, questions, things like that, you guys please use the chat, use the text stream, like whatever ideas we have, we need to start like sharing it with each other because like we're all going to grow together. And I'm just thinking about like looking back, like I got like a notification for a year ago. I was living in Winston with my ex-partner and I was meeting with my friend to talk about wedding plans. Like literally like a year ago yesterday, we met at Starbucks to like discuss caterers. And now look like it's like everything is different with my life. Like I just want you to imagine like the possibility that you have for this year. Like it is the opportunities are like absolutely endless and I'm so excited to like for this to be like the new kind of flavor and excited for these next 3 sessions. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you, Megan.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.